Hey everyone, welcome back to the Knitted Away Knitting Podcast. My name is Alexandra and I'm coming to you from Almaty, Kazakhstan. It's been such a long time since I recorded for the last time. I think it's been a year maybe. So my very first one was exactly 2 years ago, around this time in October. So I've been scrolling my YouTube feed and there are so many new, beautiful and aesthetic knitting podcasts. So I'm a little bit worried about the quality of mine, but I have accumulated quite a few things that I wanted to share with you. So I decided to record an episode. So today I want to talk to you about some of my finished projects. I'm not wearing any because none of them are garments for me. I also have some yarn acquisitions, some needle acquisitions, and some books to share with you. Let's start. And my cat is here. One of my cats, we have two actually, but this is the older one. She's been with me since 2011, so she's already 13 years old. So this is not in chronological order, but the first thing I want to share with you is this hat. It's not a pattern, it's just self-drafted. I don't remember the name of the yarn, and I don't believe the seller, the store that I bought it in, actually gave me any name. But it's that stock type of yarn, the yarn that comes on cones and is usually left over from production of knitted garments. Many famous brands actually produce knitted garments and then they sell the remaining yarn to whoever wants to hand knit or machine knit, and the yarn is usually really high quality. As for this one, I believe it's either 70 or 80% alpaca and the rest is polyacrylic. So I just cast it on and joined in the round the required number of stitches. I have my circumference is 56, I think. So what I usually do is I cast on 1 centimeter less than my circumference, if that makes sense. So I cast on for 55 centimeter circumference, sometimes 54, just to let the hat stretch a little bit and not, if you make a hat with the number of stitches that fit your circumference, it's just a little bit too loose, it doesn't hold the shape properly. So I cast on that number of stitches and then I knit everything in the round, one by one rib, just straight up, and I made it extra long because I wanted to fold it twice. And I finished it. I finished the top with 4 sections. I just divide for 4 sections and I decrease around 2 stitches around the middle stitch of every section, and I do it every other row until there are 12 or 16 stitches left, and then I just pull them together and hide the remaining yarn. And I think this is pretty much what everyone does in their hats. So you can either divide your stitches in 4, 5, 6, 3 sections and then decrease gradually, and depending on how many sections you have, you will get either a flatter top or you will get a sharper, or more elongated top. Depends on what you want. If you want a very round top, you can also decrease every second stitch, every other or fourth row, and then repeat it until you have like 12 stitches left, and that will give you a very rounded top, which I also like actually. I would say that's one of my favorite waist to decrease actually. I will try this on. I don't know how I look because I am filming on my phone and I'm filming on the back camera, so I have no idea how I will look in this. Hopefully fine, but I will try it on. This is how I'm planning to wear it, folding the brim double, and that's basically it. Oh, I was holding the yarn double actually, and it turned out very, very thick and warm. I think I will wear this during the winter, while I actually wanted to make an autumn hat because I don't have one, so I wanted to make an autumn hat, but I got a winter hat. The next thing I want to talk about is a little bit out of shape because I just dried it in not the perfect way for a knitted object to be dried. I kind of hang it on hooks. Don't do that, by the way. Just dry your knitting lying flat. So, and I haven't steamed it, didn't do anything to it, so it's a little bit out of shape. But this is, as you can see, is something close to a Sophie's scarf. But this is not a Sophie's scarf. I've been resisting to knit a Sophie's scarf for a very long time. And she also came out with a Sophie's shawl, I think, at the moment. So because it's autumn at the moment, everyone is knitting something warm accessories, and I saw people making the Sophie's scarf or shawl everywhere on Instagram, so I gave in. I actually liked how it looked, so I decided to make one for myself. It's completely, honestly, the shape is completely ruined at the moment, but it will be fine after, not blocking, but after steaming. What I wanted to say is that this is once again self-drafted. And moreover, I did not look into Sophie's scarf or shawl very closely, so I honestly don't know what they look like and if this even remotely follows the shape of Sophie's scarf. Sophie's shawl, I would say, because I made a bigger version. So this is how I am planning to wear it, and what I used for this, let me show you first. I used one skein of Shopel 6 carat shadow in this beautiful turquoise color, and I also held it triple with this yarn because I had these held together and then one string of this one. I would actually prefer holding this on its own, but this was a little bit too lacy and thin for what I wanted, because I wanted something quick. So I had some leftovers of this. So I forgot to tell you what this yarn is. Once again, it's one of those made in Italy yarns that are used for production, and this is either Talegno or Talegno. Correct me in the comments and I will say it a lot in this video. Correct me in the comments if you know how to pronounce it. And the name of the yarn is Harmony, and this is 100% merino wool, and it's very lightweight. It's 1,500 meters per 100 grams. So I held these two together, and my mistake was that I didn't realize that well, I realized it, but I didn't account for the fact that the scarf that I was going to make was very narrow, and Shopel 6 carat yarn has 600 meters in it, and well, this, I have no idea how much I had left, but obviously more than enough to finish it. And I thought for some reason that I would use up the whole skein of this and everything from this comb, which I didn't, because the scarf, the shawl takes so little yarn. I have 1/3 left. So I have 200 meters here left, and I think I have the same amount of yarn here, which is unfortunate because I thought this would be such a great stash buster project, and I would use up 2 of my yarns, which didn't happen. And I have only 200 meters left, which I don't know what to use for. Maybe an accessory for my son or someone else's kid. But this yarn, I didn't tell you, it's 80% merino, I believe. Let me actually have notes. Let me look it up. Yes, 80% merino and 20% silk, and it's 600 meters per 100 grams. And because it contains silk, it doesn't really hold rib very well, or doesn't really hold shape very well. It's perfect for shawls and scarves because you get a very flowy fabric. So, in terms of how I knit this scarf, I have, once again, just like I said before, I have no idea what actually the Sophie's shawl, the shape of the Sophie's shawl, or how it's made. I don't know about anything about that, so I don't even know if it follows the shape or the techniques that Petite Knit uses in her scarf, but it's obviously very heavily inspired by her scarf because it has garter stitch and I-cord edging. I'm not revealing any secret information about Petite Knit's Sophie's shawl or scarf. I feel that I can share with you how I made mine. So I casted on 7 stitches, and I assigned 3 to each side of the scarf, and I would make it with I-cord, which is very easy to make, and then one. I started with 1, and then that would go for well, the body of the scarf, and then I just increased the number of stitches on just one side by 1 in every 8th row. Is it right? After every 7 rows, I would make an increase. Yeah, that would make it in every 8th row. I started with every 5th row, but then I frogged it because I didn't like it was increasing way too quickly, so I switched to every 7th. So after every 5 rows or after every 7 rows. And I would increase 1 stitch. I would just pick up yarn and make an additional stitch on just one side. And after my scarf reached 1 meter, I knitted not 7 rows but 14 rows. So I kind of formed this corner. Then I just did the same for another 1 meter, but decreasing 1 stitch after every 7 rows. And each side I was finishing with I-cord, which is very easily googled on YouTube, and there are any kinds of tutorials on YouTube, free tutorials how to make that. So if you like the look of Sophie's scarf, you can make it any size you want. Choose a different yarn, larger needle, smaller needle. You don't have to knit for 1 meter, you can make it smaller, so you can get any size of scarf or shawl that you want to. So if you like the look but you're on a budget, or maybe you just don't feel like buying a pattern and you want to actually learn how to do it yourself, just follow my very brief notes that I just told you on how I made a similar scarf. And if you don't know how to do an I-cord edging, just Google it up. It's very, very easy. So on to the next object. Well, this actually, I wanted to tell you that I actually like how they look together. They're so cheerful and bright. I was not planning on wearing these together, or they were they weren't coming as a set in my mind, but I actually like how they look. So next things that I finished. Oh, before I take out two sweaters for my son, I will show you these pumpkins. I will link down the knitting tutorial for these pumpkins because it's free. And honestly, I just forgot the name of the blog that I got the instructions of, but I will definitely link it in the description notes because this pattern is just genius. It's extremely easy to make, and you can make 3 sizes of pumpkins. And once again, depending on the needles that you get, depending on the yarn that you get, you can make, even with the same number of stitches, you can make different sizes of pumpkins. And it's extremely, extremely easy to make. So this one, these are such amazing stash busters, turned out to be, because I used up 9 balls of yarn for my pumpkins. I actually really like this one. It's fuzzy and it's small. So I used up 9 balls of yarn, or 700 grams of yarn for these projects. And all of that yarn came in, single balls scattered here and there, and I didn't even know that I had so much yarn lying there and not being, dedicated to a project. Some of the yarn that I have here actually came from leftovers. Honestly, I didn't know that I had so much yarn. Even especially orange. When I decided to make a pumpkin, I thought that I would have to buy orange yarn because I was 100% sure that I didn't have enough orange yarn to make a pumpkin. And look at this. Yes, I had to hold many balls together, but look at how much orange yarn I actually had in my stash. I really am sometimes in denial about the size of my stash, I think. So next, let me show you 2 sweaters that I made for my son, and these are once again free patterns. And now I think that it seems that all I do is make stuff either from my head or from free patterns, which is strange because I do purchase knitting patterns and haven't made anything in a very long time. So let me show you this one first because I finished it first. And this is from the Drops Yarns site, and it's a free pattern called North Star. I was making the 3-year size, I think, 3 to 4-year size. And I used yarn from Russia. It's Pihorka, and it's called Australian Merino. Well, I'm not sure if the merino that they use really comes from Australia. I don't really think so. Maybe it's a name of the breed. But nevertheless, that's what the yarn is called. And it's 95% merino yarn and non-superwash merino yarn and 5% either acrylic or polyacrylic. And actually, this is one of my favorite yarns because it's very affordable. It has it's what's it called? It's not lace, but fingering weights. So you can either hold it double or single, and there's so many options how to use this yarn. And in this sweater, I held it double, and as you can see, I was a little bit inspired by the porcelain sweater, and I really like the color combination in this sweater. This natural kind of almost linen color or oatmeal color and bright blue. And I use 3.5 millimeter needles. Oh, and I forgot to tell you that it's finger in weight. It's 400 meters per 100 grams. It's going to be a very, very warm sweater. It's not scratchy or itchy at all, but it's warm and thick and I like it. And then another sweater that I made in the same yarn, but with leftovers. And you can see it because you can even see that the color, even though I use the same yarn here and on the sleeves, the color chain varies a little bit, but I think it's fine. I'm not, even if somebody notices, I don't really care. It's a hand knit garment, and I feel that such color discrepancies even make it cuter. So I use the same yarn. It's Bihorka Australian Merino, and I once again was holding a double, and then I used like this green one, and this brown one is just some random leftovers that I don't even know the name of the yarn. The edges and the main body is and the burgundy, what are these mushrooms called? Witch stew? Is it witch stew, or witch stew is paganka? Anyway, I will Google what these mushrooms are called. I just slipped out of my head for some reason. So I held the yarn together, once again 2 strands together, but I was using needles, 4mm needles for this sweater, and it's the same size. It's just a little bit of a different shape, and it's wider obviously because I was using a larger needle. And honestly, I don't like it as much because I think 3.5 turned out a little bit more neat and thick than this one, but I still find that it's a very fun and cute sweater to wear during winter. So the project that I'm making at the moment is once again self-drafted. I just wanted a very simple raglan cardigan. Let me find where the middle is. So this is what it looks like at the moment, and it's I've already divided for the body and sleeves, and I will cast on the band after I'm done with the body and sleeves. And the band I'm planning to make either in 1x1 or 2x2 rib. So it's just you can say classical raglan, because I was increasing in every other row around the raglan stitches. There's just one stitch, no braids or anything here going on here. And then I also was increasing in every 4th row for the v-neck. Oh, it's going to be a v-neck cardigan, I forgot to tell you. So that's a short overview of what I'm making, of how I'm making it. There is nothing else to add. It's just a very simple v-neck cardigan in stockinette stitch and in raglan shoulder. And the yarn that I'm using it kind of brings us to the yarn acquisitions that I've made this past year. So the yarn that I'm using, I'm actually holding 5 strands together at the same time, and it looks like this. And this is, once again, correct me if I'm reading it wrong because it's in Italian. It's called Zegna Baruffa, and yarn is called Super G-Long. It's 100% merino yarn, and the color is rust. I don't know how it shows on camera because it's a very tricky color to catch on camera. In real life, it really does look like reddish part of rust, but on camera sometimes it looks more red and bright. So this is 500 meters per 100 grams, so I'm holding it 5 strands together, and I am making it with 4.5, just 4.0 millimeter needles. This is the swatch that I made, and I've washed it already, and look how fluffy the yarn gets after it's washed. And I really like the fabric. It's very flowy, extremely soft and fluffy and fuzzy. Let me show you a little bit closer. And once again, it's one of those stock yarns. Let me show you. It comes in cones, and this is not the original cone because I asked the store that I bought it in to separate it into 5 different cones, so it's easier for me to knit. And the thread itself, the yarn itself, is soaked in something or covered with something that makes it easier for a factory that makes garments with this yarn to kind of use it easily in a production knitting machine. So the yarn has to be very thin and flat, so it's covered with some sort of oil, which you have to remove after you wash either your swatch or your garments. So since I'm not very experienced in knitting with such yarn, I usually buy yarn in balls, and pretty much a yarn in ball comes in its final form pretty much. So I googled how to actually get rid of that oil that covers the thread. You can see the difference, right, between what it looks like here and what it looks after washing. So the method that I followed, and I actually liked how it turned out. So I soaked it in washing liquid that is specifically designed to wash wool, and then I put it into a washing machine on a fast cycle. It depends on the washing machine that you have, but mine has a 30-minute cycle, and I turned down the spinning for 400 spins per minute, I think. So it's one of the lowest settings on my washing machine, and I washed it there. So I just squeezed it out. I didn't rinse it after the washing liquid, and then I just put it like that, soapy, into the washing machine, and I added some fabric conditioner, and I set it there for a quick cycle, but didn't spin it very much. So it came out looking like this, very fluffy. It didn't shrink that much, shrunk a little bit, but didn't shrink that much. And I really like how that method actually helped me get rid of the oil that coated the thread. So that's it. That's what I'm making at the moment. It's probably not very exciting. It's not what everyone on KnitShop is making at the moment, but I just really, really like the color, and I really wanted a simple cardigan. So now let me show you some acquisitions that I wanted to share with you, and I will actually start with knitting needle sets. I've been using only Adzi needles, and I have like Adzi circulars and Adzi sock needles, and I have accumulated, I think, the whole set of everything that I've needed. I had my needles from 2 millimeters to up to 9 or 10 millimeters, and some of the sizes I had double, because one of my favorite methods used to be knitting in the round was to use two circular needles, which I think I will refrain from using, at least for now, because I will show you. It actually, I don't know if you can see here in the middle, but I can see it in real life and it's quite pronounced. In the middle there is this, it's not a jog, but you can see the middle stitch is a little bit funky. And this is what you get, this is what I got when I was knitting with two circular needles in the round. I'm sure not everyone gets that, and I'm sure there are people who can knit with this method seamlessly, but obviously, apparently it's not me. That being said, this year I decided to venture into trying interchangeable knitting needle sets. And I used to be very opposed to the idea of trying something like that, because I always felt that it's just too finicky. That's basically it. Also, I felt that I had very good needles. Addi needles are my golden standard. But I decided that I really wanted to try one, and I decided to go all in, and I got this Chiagu set. Let me tell you what it's called. It's the complete set. It's a little bit in a mess, so I still have, you can see, Addi needles here. So the knitting tips are here, and they come in sizes from 2.75 millimeters, which is US number 2, up to 10 millimeters, which is US number 15. But this set doesn't have the 3 millimeter needles. They jump from 275 to 325, I think, right away. Yes. Nevertheless, it's fine, and I really like this set. It comes with a lot of notions. Let me see. It comes with 3 cables, 35, 55 and 75 centimeters, and it comes with stitch markers, keys to kind of tighten the needle tips on the cables, and many other accessories. It even comes with a ruler and needle kind of measuring tool. I'm keeping everything here. Oh, and comes with this cute mat that's shaped like a heart. So I'm keeping it here, and the case that it comes with is actually very practical to use. I really like it. I actually also want to try a leather case, but I feel that it might be a little bit bulky. This one is just right. Everything is just right about it. And then after I tried this set, I was just browsing. We have this website that is called OLX. It's a website and an app for your phone where you can sell used stuff. So I was browsing that, looking for something else actually, and then I stumbled upon a woman who was selling 2 needle sets, and I got one of them. And one of the needle sets was this one, which is called Knit Pro Symphony Wood Deluxe Set. That's a mouthful. And I used to have Knit Pro Symphonies in size 4 millimeters. I really like them. I like that it's wood, and I like the pattern on the needle tips. So I really like those, and they brought me joy when I was making something with them. So when I saw this set, and I already knew that I kind of liked interchangeable needle sets, so I decided to go for it. The packaging is not as perfect as for chair goose. I haven't decided how to actually keep my needles. This is it, just what it came in. I got rid of some of the packaging, but this is how I'm keeping it for now. But I'm thinking about how to find a better way to store these needles. So these come in sizes 3.5, starting with 3.5 and ending with 8 millimeters. Oh, and I forgot to tell you that the woman that was selling the set said that it was absolutely new, and that's what it was. It was completely new. She just opened it, and I think either didn't like it or just had some other better sets to use. And actually I'm using it right now to make my cardigan in rust color, my Raglan cardigan. And once again, it's just a perfect set for me. I think I'm done for now with buying knitting needle sets, even though I really like is it Like or Luke? I really like how the case and how everything is presented, and especially the driftwood edition. But I feel that what I have now is more than enough. I'm not planning on collecting everything that I just like. And I forgot to tell you that the Symphony set is also made with birchwood, just like the Luke set. It's obviously a more affordable version, but I am completely content with it. It's just, it comes with this bag, which has these pockets for needle needle tips, the other way around. And it comes with this little pouch where you can keep your cables. But while preparing for this video, I actually googled the name of the set, because I remembered it was Symphony Deluxe something, but I didn't remember the complete name. And actually googled it, and it said that it's supposed to have 4 cable needle or 4 cables, and I had it with 3, but now that I look at it, you're supposed to get 60 centimeters, 2 cables of 80 centimeters, and 1 cable of 100 centimeters. And I have only 1 cable of 80 centimeters, the red one that I'm knitting with at the moment. But now when I look at it, I have 4 sets of needle stoppers and this keys to tighten the needle tips. So I presume that the woman that was selling this, she either lost or, you know, just took out and used the 4th cable, which honestly is fine. I mean, she didn't tell me that. It's on her, but for me as a user of the set, it's fine. I'm not missing that extra 80 centimeter cable, and I got it like 50% off the retail price, so I'm fine with that. And it was new. Yeah, 1 cable is missing, but it's fine. I didn't even notice it until I started researching it for this video. So that's it with the needles, but it's quite a lot of money actually spent on knitting needles, given that I already had my perfect set of knitting needles, and these 2 were basically just for fun. Now let's go into the yarn that I bought. So the first yarn that I want to show you, I have quite a few actually, are these 2 cones, and this is 100% yak wool. They're the same, just different colors. And this is the brand that's called Sylvette, and the yarn name is Plateau. I obviously have never used it and made anything with it, but I have made a hat a few years back with yarn that contains, I think it was either 50 or 80% yak, and the rest was merino wool. And I'm still completely in love with that hat, and it's natural yak color. So it's brownish grayish color. Not the most exciting color, to be honest, but it's just so soft and so fluffy and very lightweight once again, and feels like a little cloud, and but not itchy or scratchy, and it doesn't have the fluff that comes from it is not very long, so it doesn't get into your eyes or nose. So I decided to try some more yak wool, and I am very excited to use this one. It is 650 meters per 100 grams, and I have 300 grams of each, which is more than enough. Well, enough at least for one full garment for me. So the next yarn that I will show you is also 100% yak wool, but it looks and feels completely different. It has a lot more of that coating that I talked to you about. That is supposed to make it easier for the factories to knit with the yarn using machines. It's in a similar color. I'm just very much into this cream color at the moment. So you can see how different they are. This one is so fluffy, and it looks like it comes pretty much in its final form. So it's going to look like this in the garment, while with this one I will really have to make well, a swatch and wash it and kind of look at it, how it looks when it's washed and well, freed from the coating. And this yarn is Biagiolo Modesto yak 100 yak 100, and it's 100% yak, and it's 700 meters per 7 grams, and I have how much? 300 grams here. Once again, more than enough to make something even using cables, but we'll see. I haven't seen anything cabled on Ravelry or Instagram in such thin yarn. It's basically lace or fingering, because some of this yarn, it says like it has 700 or 600 meters. Got some fluff from that yarn into my nose, but it's actually not as thin as yarn in a ball with the same meterage, because it opens up so much after you remove the coating. It becomes very fluffy, and the thread itself, the yarn itself, is a lot more thick than what you would expect for such meterage. But yes, I have enough for even a cabled sweater, a heavily cabled sweater. So if I want to make one with this yarn, I will have to, I think, draft one myself, which would not be a problem, I think. Then another yarn that I want to show you is once again in a similar color. It's also called cream, I believe. So it's looks like that. Once again, very heavily coated yarn, and this one is, I did not put it down, so so here's the name. This is Knoll Yarns. Once again, correct me if I'm reading this wrong. It's either Knoll Yarns or Knoll Yarns, but I assume the K is silent. And it's soft Donegal tweed, and this is 380 meters per 100 grams, and I have a lot. I actually have 500 grams of this beauty, and my initial plan was to make a cabled sweater with it, either cabled or a Genzi sweater with something like this. I haven't worked with this yarn ever, so I don't know what to expect, but hopefully if I don't quit recording my podcasts once again, we will find out eventually, because I will make something with this yarn. The second last yarn that I want to show you is this one, and This yarn was a little bit of disappointment for me because I was buying it online, and online it looked and said that the color was red. But if I compare it to something truly red, just a second. Like, I don't know, if even if you take the book and if it's a little bit more terracotta and orange, burnt orange or terracotta than red. And I wanted to make a hat, a neck warmer, and gloves with this yarn, and I wanted it to be bright red. Well, it's okay. I think I will still make... Now I'm a little bit kind of on the fence. What should I make with it? Should I still keep with my plan and make the hat, the neck warmer, and the gloves, even though I feel that it doesn't really suit me? I don't know how well it will suit me on camera, but in real life it's a little bit too orange. I wanted it to be a little bit cooler in tone. Should I proceed with my plan and make what I planned, or should I make maybe a vest? Vests are so in at the moment. I'm not sure how much I would like a vest on myself. So I'm still kind of thinking, and if you have something to say about it, do in the comments. So this, what is it? It is Loro Piana coarse hair, which is a very famous yarn if among people who knit with stock yarn. Loro Piana is a famous luxury brand, and well, they make a lot of knitted stuff, and they sell a lot of leftover yarn from their very, very expensive luxury clothes. It's 550 meters per 100 grams, and I have 200 grams here. So actually, well, it's definitely more than enough to make a vest. Might even be enough for a sweater, but I don't know, I'm not sure about that. So this is 100% cashmere wool. This is what it looks like. It's once again very heavily coated, and apparently it's very fluffy and beautiful after you wash it. We'll have to see that. So I don't know, I was so much so excited about this yarn, and I was actually planning to cast on right away as I receive it, but after I received it, because of the color, I'm a little bit on the fence about what to do with it. And the very last yarn that I want to show you is some sock yarn. I have another ball of sock yarn, but I forgot to bring it, so I'll show you just these three. These are yarns from Turkey, which are very popular here because they're extremely affordable, and they are very consistent in their quality. The contents of acrylic is fairly high in their yarns, but they're consistent quality for the price that you pay for them. And especially when it comes to sock yarn, I feel that it's actually not all of Turkish yarns, but this brand is one of the best sock yarns out there, even compared to more expensive yarn. So this is Alize Superwash, and two variations of it. This is Alize Superwash Comfort, and it forms a pattern like this, a stripy pattern with a little bit pattern that looks like a motif. And it's 420 meters per 100 grams, and it's 75% superwash wool and 25% polyamide, and it's machine washable, which is perfect for socks. So I have this variation colorway, and this variation of the yarn is called Artisan, and it just it forms a different kind of pattern. It's also stripy. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but it's a little bit more like hand-dyed yarn. I think it's supposed to mimic hand-dyed yarn in how the stripes are formed. So it's the same, everything else is the same about the yarn. It's 75% wool, 25% polyamide, 420 meters per 100 grams. This colorway was chosen by my son. He saw me scrolling the colorways on the phone and he picked this one for himself. And I think I will make him socks and gloves, and since he's only 2.5, I'm sure there will be plenty more left. And this one I picked for myself, but we'll see how it goes. I just want socks in this colorway. I actually want to kind of explore sock knitting a little bit more. It's once again something that I was never very drawn to. I've knitted a few socks. The first 2 or 3 pairs I made in, you know, the traditional classical way where you start top down and then you make the ribbing, then you knit the shaft, and then you kind of turn for the heel, for the heel, yes, and then kind of pick up the stitches and continue for the foot, and then you just decrease every other row just like for a hat, and you just pull everything together at the end. That's just, I think, the most traditional way to make socks, but all of the socks were way too wide for me. It's not my foot is not particularly narrow or thin or anything like that. It's just normal, but I think it's about my knitting style. I knit very loosely, and because of that I think I get very wide socks. And then I found this free pattern on Ravelry, which is called Kasuri Socks. I believe it's a designer and pattern from Japan, and I will also link it down below. And it's a bottom-up sock, toe-up sock, and that pattern was actually perfect for me because it resulted in a more snugly fitting sock on my foot. So I've made a couple of those socks, but recently I thought, well, I want to explore sock knitting more, and I want to try to find my perfect sock, but top down, cuff down. And for that, we are transferring into my last section of what I wanted to share, and actually my last section of purchases, which is knitting books. I got this knitting book, which is dedicated to socks only, about very different styles and techniques of knitting socks. Well, actually, you can find 100%, you can find all of this, everything on YouTube for free. You don't need to buy a book for that. But I just wanted a book. And it's not out of practical reasons that everything is in one place or something like that. I just wanted some aesthetically pleasing experience. I have to apologize, I haven't spoken English in the longest time, so if I am mispronouncing stuff, I apologize for that. So the author of this book, well, first of all, it's a Russian author and the book is in Russian, and the author of this book is Tatiana Kulikova. I have never heard of this knitter before, but apparently she's very big on Russian-speaking, either KnitTube or Knitstagram. So she's very famous in the Russian-speaking knitting community, but I've never heard of her. There is not much to show. This is how the chapters look, and then she also gives you like these step-by-step illustrated instructions. And I believe you can also scan a QR code. Yes, you have like these QR codes which you can use to access her video tutorials. I think they're either on YouTube or somewhere else, but yes, she provides you with video tutorials as well. So with this book and the yarn that I got, I am planning to finally find my perfectly fitting sock. So another book that I bought and I want to share with you is this one. Guys, I apologize if I'm showing you the books that you're not able to not only access, but even if you access them, you can't really read them because they're in Russian. I think the English-speaking knitting community and Russian-speaking knitting community are both so large, but they're so divided by the language that usually people just don't know what's going on in those communities. I decided that I will show you a very small glimpse into very talented people that there are in our Russian-speaking community as well. And one of those people is Svetlana Loginova, and she is an author of 3 books actually. I have only one of them on my hands at the moment, and it's called Orenburg Shawl, Secrets of Russian Knitting. And a very short, while I'm showing you pictures, a very short kind of overview of what Orenburg Shawl is. It's this is what it looks like traditionally. It's very lacy, heavily lacy shawls that are made with yarn made of goats, but I'm not sure what it's called correctly. So it's not the not the coat of the goat, but the undercoat of the goat. And even though in a lot of the yarn they call it down, I'm positive it's not down, because down, in my understanding, comes from birds. Well, it's not cashmere, because those are not cashmere goats. Those are just normal goats, but the undercoat is still very, very gentle and fluffy and delicate, and it's usually this white color. Well, not all of the time actually, but for the Orenburg shawl, traditionally they use this natural undyed white color undercoat, goat undercoat. So you get a very, very thin yarn with that. And then they have some traditional patterns. I want to show you another example. Some traditional patterns that combined together, they form any kind of this beautiful, beautiful shawl. And usually it's so very light, even the huge ones that are 150 centimeters by 150 centimeters, they're so light and so thin that just like pashmina shawls, they fit through the ring. So what she is giving you here, oh, this is the picture of the author herself with one of her shawls. So as you can see, it's a square shawl that when you wear it, you just fold it and wear it folded either on your shoulders or your head, because it's made out of goat undercoat. It's a little bit it's actually a lot like mohair, but it's not as scratchy. It's actually very gentle, so it's very good to wear during winter because it doesn't allow winds through. Even though it's very lacy, it doesn't allow winds through because it's so fluffy. You can see here another example, but in red. It's not traditionally how it's the color of choice for the Orenburg shawl. Orenburg, by the way, is a city in Russia, and historically it used to be part of Kazakhstan centuries ago. But when Kazakhstan became part of Russia, not during the USSR era, but back in 18th century. But yes, native Kazakh people remember that it's part of their land. We're not here to talk about historical issues, but we're here to talk about the shawls, and they are absolutely beautiful. These shawls are really like heirloom objects. You can pass them on to your grandchildren. And I also have one from my mom, but it's not in this shawl form. It is in like more like a scarf form, but it's still very beautiful. Unfortunately, I forgot to bring it to show it to you in real life. Maybe next time I'll bring it to you. So in this book, what she does, she gives you a very short introduction to the history of the shawls, and she actually went into archives and researched the history of the shawls, the history of each pattern of the shawl. While I'm talking to you, I'll show you another one. The history of each pattern, of each element of the shawl that all together are combined into these beautiful shawls. And she researched everything, and she speaks a little bit about that. And she is like the keeper of this very old tradition of knitting these beautiful shawls. And also what she gives you here in this book are a few, it's either, or it's 15 traditional, well, designed by her, but using traditional Orenburg motifs, traditional shawls, and you can make one yourself. And this is just an incredible book that included so much work, and the shawls themselves are just beautiful. So I want to show you a couple of other books. One of them is once again about something traditional, but it doesn't come from a traditional from the country of origin. This book is called Secrets of Errands, 110 real errands with hidden meaning. And it's a book from Vogue Japan. Let me read you what it's called, but it's translated into Russian. All of my books that I got are in Russian, just because, guys, it is so much more affordable to get books in Russian. And once again, it starts with a very short introduction into the history of errands. Talks a little bit about the islands, Aran Islands, and then they go into giving you these absolutely beautiful panels. They start with this very traditional and more simple looking separate motifs, and then they transition into some of the more intricate designs. And then at the end of the book, they have a couple of projects for you, like a cardigan and a sweater, and I think a hat and something else. It's like a hat, socks, and I think these projects are beautiful and perfect to try Aran knitting. And the last two books that I want to show you are, I'm going to show you together, and these are also stitch dictionaries. So the first one is Knitting Stitch Dictionary by Tor Encyclopedia, and the author is Lydia Kloss. And this, I really, really like this Stitch Dictionary. It's beautiful and it's very concise. And you can see that each section is not very large, but you can see that the author made a huge job by, picking just the best knitting stitches. You also have like a whole section of edging for your garments. Well, not accessories, obviously. And you have like the practice section, I think, where they tell you like different hacks here and there on how to things. You also have a section on errands. It comes with charts, so if you are not comfortable with reading charts, this book will probably be not for you. But for me personally, charts is perfect. For me, knitting with a description is so much harder. It's just my mind is all over the place, and for me it's very hard to concentrate and focus on something when I need with a description of the pattern and not the chart. And the last book that I'm going to show you is this 800 plus stitches for knitting on the needles. And it's a Russian translation of the very famous Soho Stitch Dictionary that I think everyone in the knitting community has. So yes, this is the what is it called? The Ultimate Stitch Dictionary, the Soho Publishing Ultimate Stitch Dictionary. And this is the Russian translation of it. And what I like about this book, well, first of all, it is more versatile as it gives you both the chart and the description. So it kind of suits both worlds. But another thing that I really like about this book, even though it's not as concise and concentrated as Lydia Close's book, but what I like about this one, I'll show you, is that it shows the swatch in full and not just a pretty cut out picture of it. And it really allows you to see how the fabric will be formed using the stitch that you chose. And I really, really like that. Let me show you something like this. Oh, I hope you guys don't see the description. Oh my god, you can't probably read Russian anyway, but how do I show you? Something like this. You can see how the fabric is shaped using this stitch. So it really allows you to kind of consider for that when you design your own garment. And another thing I like about this book is that it has a very extended collection of color work, which actually Lydia Close's book doesn't have. That I'm sure everyone has seen these things 100 of times, but I'm just showing you what I liked. So yes, I am very happy with all the books that I got. So I have 3 stitch dictionaries, and then I have 2 instructional kind of books, beautiful shawls and the socks. The last thing I wanted to ask you is, can you recommend me some app or maybe a website where you store and which you use for your creative projects? I've tried out Milanote, but I'm not a fan of the fact that I can't really edit my boards on my phone and I have to log into my desktop every time. I was even thinking maybe Trello could do, but if you have something, if you're using something like that, can you please recommend me, as I don't really like the layout for the projects on Ravelry, even though Ravelry is a great site and I really appreciate that they give us so much variability and just so much stuff for free. It's a great website, but I just want something on my phone, very concise and easy to use, and well, yeah, that would suit the project work better. So that's it for my third or second episode. I hope you guys, I will see you in a month or so. For now, take care and have a good day.